here. Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. When I say let me see your hands, let me see your hands.
This story began just a few weeks prior on April 16, 2018. Anita Sandoval contacted the authorities informing them that her sister, Dawn Sandoval, had disappeared under suspicious circumstances.
So, my sister's not here.
Okay.
This is not like her. Both her cars are here, her purse is here, her phone's here. Her phone is still connected by her bed. She has so many missed alerts and stuff from today. We've talked to everybody that she talks to, and nobody has seen her.
When the investigators delved into the case, they uncovered a puzzling mystery with multiple suspects.
We started texting back and forth, and then we started dating.
She didn't appear sad. I mean, she laughed a lot.
As the detectives were unraveling the mystery, a 911 call surfaced, revealing the horrific truth behind this case.
Sandoval County Police Fire and Rescue.
Hey, it appears to me to be a possible body part. I don't know if it's an animal or a person, but it kind of looks like an arm.
When Dawn's sister Anita placed a frantic 911 call, the detectives had no idea the twisted path this case would lead them down.
Sandoval County 911, what is the emergency?
My nephews came home from school and their mom, which is my sister, didn't come home.
What time was the last time that the kids talked to her? How long ago was that?
Last night, about 10:30.
And that's the last time they saw her?
Yeah. But from what my nephews tell me, when they went to school this morning, they said she wasn't here, but her cars were here. And her cell phone's here, her purse is here.
Are you guys wanting to report her as missing at this time?
Yes. We've talked to all her friends, anybody that she talks to on a daily basis, but nobody's seen her. It's just creepy.
Detectives soon uncovered chilling secrets that twisted the case into a darker, more disturbing puzzle than they'd ever imagined. Dawn Sandoval, a 46-year-old mother of four from Rio Rancho, New Mexico, disappeared from her residence with no evidence, and her family became increasingly worried. Her sister Anita immediately contacted the police, raising the alarm. Without wasting any time, the authorities immediately arrived at Dawn's residence to advance with further investigation.
It's going to be Dawn Sandoval, 5'4", about 125, light brown hair. She has sleeve tattoos and a crown tattoo on her chest.
Detectives' first interaction was with Dawn's sister Anita, who informed the police about Dawn's disappearance.
Hello. How are you?
Oh, I could be better.
What's going on?
So, my sister's not here.
Okay.
This is not like her.
Okay.
She knows that her boys, because her and her ex-husband are just finished finalizing their divorce. And so they have 50-50 custody. So she knows that today was her day. They went to bed last night around 10:30. She was here with the ex-husband.
Last night?
Yeah. They went to bed. When they got up to go to school this morning, neither one of them were here. Both her cars are here, her purse is here, her phone's here. Her phone is still connected by her bed. I had my nephew open it. She has so many missed alerts and stuff from today. And we've talked to everybody that she talks to, and nobody has seen her.
Dawn was divorced. She and her ex-husband, Michael Encinas, were sharing custody of their twins, Kevin and Ricky. On the evening of April 16th, Dawn was spending time with Michael and the kids. However, the following day, Dawn went missing from home. Upon realizing their mother's absence and unable to find any trace of her, the twins grew increasingly anxious for her safety and eventually notified their aunt. Dawn's sister grew worried when she noticed that a significant period had passed without any news from Dawn, which was unusual given her consistent communication habits. The police continued to communicate with Dawn's sister to understand the clear picture of events surrounding the night she was last seen.
Last time I talked to her is Thursday.
How was her state then?
She was okay.
She never made any threats of harming herself, or?
She's a strong woman. She's been through this a few times.
Okay.
So I know definitely she's a fighter.
However, she only remembered the last discussion with Dawn, who had sounded perfectly composed and didn't show any signs of stress. The investigator hit a dead end as Dawn's last interaction before her disappearance didn't contain any clue as to what could have happened to her. Thus, the investigators conducted a rigorous search of the residence to find any possible leads. Despite their best efforts conducting a thorough search, Officials couldn't find any definitive evidence. However, Dawn's room was in a state of serious disarray. The state of her bed was chaotic, and she carelessly left her purse, phone, and other items there as well. Moreover, it was notable that there was no evidence of forced entry. The cops knew something strange had occurred, leading to doubt. However, there wasn't sufficient evidence to establish foul play. The investigation was ongoing, and the authorities needed more information. The police suspected that Dawn's children might know something, given their presence with Dawn on the fatal night. In desperate need of clarity, investigators swiftly arranged an interview with the children in the hope that their accounts would shed some pivotal light on the mysterious events that had occurred.
I know I also talked to you earlier before we made a little bit, but I just wanted to let you know, get some details from him. What can you tell me?
He was with us all day yesterday because we had games in the morning to go eat, and I came back, and then he stayed here, yeah. I went to bed, they both went up there. Our mom came in and told us to clean the room because we're trying to sell our house.
The two children provided crucial information about their father. Michael had visited on April 16th and spent most of his time coaching them in basketball, while Dawn was preoccupied with her usual activities, not particularly impressed by Michael's presence. However, when investigators questioned Dawn's sister again, she provided a contrasting view of Michael. This led to the revelation of another twist that was awaiting the investigators.
Mike told my nephew that he didn't stay here last night because she felt uncomfortable him staying the night here and that he left. But my nephew's here. The twins, they said he was here when they went to bed at 10:30. And then I talked to him. I just talked to him a while ago. And I said, "Where's my sister? You're apparently the last person to have seen her." He's like, "Yeah, I was." I said, "Well, where is she?" And he's like, "I don't know," just real firm about it. And I hung up on him. I said, "I don't want to talk to you."
According to her, Michael claimed he'd not spent the night at their residence, which contradicted the twins' statement. In the meantime, the investigators had already identified Michael as their prime suspect. However, just as the case started looking straightforward, Dawn's sister unexpectedly revealed a shocking twist that took the case in an unexpected direction.
She had been, seeing somebody, the sheriff or something, Espanola.
Dawn was also engaged to another man named Harold Witt. With Harold on the scene, the case appeared to get more twisted as the investigators now had two suspects. Given the involved web of connections and conflicting accounts, the investigators recognized the need to question Michael and Harold at length. Investigators decided that it was time to invite Michael in for questioning to clarify the true background of the incident.
So help me figure this out real quick, because you guys were married for 18 years?
Yeah.
Is your divorce finalized?
Yeah, it was finalized February 23rd.
Of this year?
Yeah.
So kind of help me understand those relationships since.
So yeah, we separated in December, and then have been living apart and got divorced February 23rd. And then since then I was in a relationship, and then on Thursday of last week, Dawn and I started talking a lot more. I remember if I spent Thursday or not. But yeah, I was there Friday night, Saturday night. So we were working it out more. We were talking things out, working things out more, just trying to move forward, basically. It seemed like we were going to make it work again, we were taking the steps to get back together. I saw that I was losing my family, I saw that I was losing what I wanted to fix, that's why I'm...
As the interview began, investigators aimed to understand Michael and Dawn's relationship. Michael appeared calm and cooperative, explaining that they were separated and decided to remain as friends. Michael then confirmed that he was with Dawn on Sunday night, April 16th, and had a normal conversation with her. His expression showed that there was nothing suspicious about his actions. He was cooperative with the authorities. Next, the investigators swiftly shifted their focus to the occurrences on April 16th, searching for discrepancies in Michael's account.
Well, Sunday we got home after lunch, and when we watched TV, we just hung out in the living room and watched TV for a little while.
Thus far, investigators discovered consistency in his statements with no indications of deceit. However, it was time to shift their questions and focus on the events that occurred once the twins fell asleep.
At that point, I was still kind of like on the fence. I wasn't sure if I was supposed to go home and I didn't ask either. Like, I waited, and then she said, well, let's go upstairs. I said, okay, and I jumped at the opportunity, and we went upstairs, and then from there, like I say, we talked for a little while, and then that's when I started getting upset. That's when I think it'd be like, I want you to go home tonight. I want you to go. I want to learn to trust you again. And that's part of earning your trust. So at this point, we're good. I'm still thinking we're good, like 100%. So I left.
Michael affirmed that he had not spent the night there. Instead, he decided to walk away and leave the house immediately to avoid a conflict with Dawn. He then drove his truck home and spent the entire night there. However, when the investigator intensified their questioning and asked him directly about Dawn's presence in the truck, he gave an ordinary response as expected.
So was she in your truck?
She didn't go in my truck. She didn't want to.
Has she ever been in it?
Not without me knowing, no.
Michael seemed composed here, and despite numerous attempts, the detectives had found no clues. Nevertheless, they continued their investigation, turning their attention to Dawn's current boyfriend, Harold. Michael shared some information about him.
She told me that you had to give him back his stuff. I asked her, can you mail it to him? She said, well, she don't want to mail it. The box is too heavy. It's a big jacket. So in the back of my mind this whole time, that's like where I thought she was yesterday when I didn't hear from her.
While Michael maintained his cooperation and composure, he divulged significant information. Dawn had arranged to meet Harold on April 16th. So when Michael left the house after 10:30 p.m. and was unable to reach her afterward, he assumed she was with Harold. The authorities had heard about Harold before, and it was certain that he held the key to answering the remaining questions. Meanwhile, Michael's account seemed completely accurate, so he was allowed to leave the station. The authorities quickly approached Harold and asked him to verify his alibi.
Do you have a few minutes to talk?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So what have you been hearing, or what's been going on? I know it's been a little while.
Given Harold's background in law enforcement, the police needed to be cautious and stay ahead in the conversation.
Unfortunately, the folks that I've met by phone is under the circumstances I've never met them before. Her son Kevin texted me Sunday and just asking if I knew her whereabouts, and I told him I didn't. So he texted me later that night around 7 or 8, that she wasn't around, which I found strange. So I texted her asking, hey, are you okay? Your son's looking for you, give him a call. And so I kind of left it as that. The relationship between her and I is we kind of were dating, but not a serious type thing. I'm at that point in my life where that's not what I'm looking for. We hung out as friends and whatnot, but, I've always been upfront and honest about that. She understood with me, but describing Dawn as a person, to me, she seemed like she was pretty, set on starting her life over, independent. But she didn't appear sad. She laughed a lot. She was actually a real good person to be around. She was a great person to be around. I can't say nothing but positive about her.
No leads materialized from Harold's testimony, and his alibi established that he was not the killer. Still, 5 hours had passed without any new leads, but the police were insistent. They turned their focus towards interviewing the neighbors, hoping to find some missed information. Despite their efforts, no leads provided clarity on the situation, prompting them to shift their focus to other possibilities. Meanwhile, Dawn's family's anxiety continued to escalate. They held on to the hope of finding her alive. However, they had no idea about the grim events that would soon take place. It had been 24 hours since Dawn had disappeared, and with little development, the detectives decided to scour her phone for possible clues. Once they extracted the data, a shocking new lead emerged, which was quite a surprise to the investigative team. Just one day into the investigation, Rio Rancho detectives found that Dawn was leading a double life with another man named Lucas, whom she had been casually dating. Recognizing the significance of possibly bringing him into the equation, detectives promptly scheduled an interview with him.
I guess if you could just kind of start by telling us how you know Dawn, or what your relationship with her was, or...
Okay. We met on Match.com. I'd say March 15th, 16th, or 17th. We started texting back and forth, and then we started dating.
March of this year, 22?
Yeah, just recently, like 4 weeks ago. Anything I can do to help you guys, because she was a wonderful person. She had a really big heart. What happened was, I'm going through a divorce now, so we had met, and we were just talking, and I had just told, she started falling in love with me, and I was the same way, and I said, I can't do this. You know what I mean? I've been away from my 4 months now. I said, I can't do this. I'm not ready to be that committed to somebody else. I just hope you guys get some answers or something, because she's a really good person.
There was just nothing coming off from Lucas.
During the interview, it became evident that Lucas and Dawn were not in a serious relationship. Lucas genuinely seemed concerned about her well-being. However, his statement didn't contribute much to advancing the case, and it seemed like the investigation had reached another standstill. Then, an unanticipated revelation emerged, one that could not have been foreseen. Lucas informed detectives that Michael had a girlfriend named Melissa, and he suspected that she might be involved with Dawn's disappearance.
His girlfriend, Mike's girlfriend, is like 24, 25, 26, somewhere. She's kind of young. She had called the police, I guess, so that they could have her arrested, because she has some warrants or some sort. And she had told me that she was concerned about the boys being with her, because the boys had told her that she was driving stoned sometimes. And I told her, I said, you can't have your boys with somebody that's irresponsible like that.
Intrigued by this new development, the detectives located and pressed Melissa for more details, opening a critical new avenue in the investigation. At this time, Melissa was in jail due to Dawn's allegations, which stated that Melissa had been using drugs while driving with Dawn's children.
Well, I talked to Mike, and Mike had told me, Dawn's missing and this and that, and I was like, really?
So what do you think about her?
My gut feeling tells me that she's up to something. I feel like she has a plan. God forbid anything has happened to her, but I just feel from the beginning, she's always told him, from what he told me from their past, she's scandalous, and she does anything to win. She always gets the last laugh in, and she'll do anything. In my heart, I feel like she's just out there laughing.
Without contacting anybody?
Yeah.
Melissa, Michael's ex-girlfriend, had even attempted to frame Dawn, stating that Dawn could have planned her disappearance as a form of revenge because she was divorced from Michael and wanted to punish him as Michael cheated her before. This theory was immediately disproved by the investigators because Dawn was said to be a responsible woman who wouldn't dare put her family in such a distressing situation. The testimony of the family members about Dawn's character proved Melissa's claims false, and hence the investigators found her untrustworthy. This prompted a deeper look into the relationship between Melissa and Michael. During this phase of the investigation, a crucial inconsistency in Michael's statements surfaced. Investigators uncovered a phone conversation between the two in which Michael instructed Melissa to contact him through a different phone while she was in jail.
Can you call me back to the other phone?
What other phone?
Or is it hard? My work phone?
I don't have the number.
A momentous discovery emerged when it was revealed that Michael had neglected to mention the presence of a second phone during his first round of questioning. This absence of information immediately sparked concerns, hinting at the possibility that he could be concealing some crucial details. Realizing this new lead could be crucial, the investigators quickly redirected their attention to learn more about the second phone, believing it might contain important evidence. Detective Brown went to see Michael at work to check about the information from his second phone, which had become a key part of the investigation.
Yeah, we got a search warrant. I need to take both of your phones.
Okay.
We'll give them the same thing. We'll get it back.
After obtaining both of Michael's phones, the detectives immediately sent them for data extraction, hoping to uncover critical information. The results, however, were initially disappointing. Michael's work phone yielded no valuable evidence, presenting yet another dead end for the investigation. But a closer look at the GPS data on his personal phone provided a potential breakthrough. The GPS indicated that on the night of April 16th, Michael was at Dawn's house until 12:31 a.m., after which he returned to his own home, where he remained for the rest of the night. On the surface, this aligned with Michael's original statement, suggesting he'd been truthful about his whereabouts. However, one detail was particularly noticeable. Shortly before 12:31 a.m., investigators found that Michael had texted Dawn declaring his love for her. This raised a crucial question. If Michael was still at Dawn's house at that particular moment, why did he feel like sending her a text? The text seems suspicious, as if Michael was attempting to create an alibi. Due to mounting suspicions against Michael, the police decided to examine CCTV footage in order to determine his whereabouts on the night in question for any possible discrepancies. Nevertheless, they were just about to stumble upon a surprising breakthrough that would have significant implications. Near Michael's home, investigators reviewed the CCTV footage that revealed a significant inconsistency in his account. The footage showed Michael's truck arriving home after 12:31 a.m. as expected. However, just a few minutes later, he was leaving in his truck and disappearing from view for 2 hours and not coming back until 2:50 a.m. This raised a major red flag, directly contradicting his statement. Those 2 unaccounted hours presented a window of time in which Michael could have easily committed the crime, intensifying investigators' suspicions and shifting their focus back to him as the prime suspect. Yet, despite their growing doubts, they lacked concrete evidence which could link Michael to Dawn's disappearance. With no solid evidence, the investigation stalled and went cold for several weeks. Then, on May 5, 2018, a breakthrough arrived. The police received an emergency call from an unidentified individual, a tip that reignited the investigation and set it on the path towards uncovering the truth they had been searching for.
Sandoval County Police Fire and Rescue.
Hi. Is there any way you can send the other, just the end of Southern?
The end of Southern?
Yeah, like very, very end, I guess it's called, like the backbone.
Uh-huh. For what reason?
There's like, it appears to me to be a possible body part. I don't know if it's an animal or a person, but it kind of looks like an arm.
The man who informed the police was shaken by the discovery. When the police arrived, he swiftly guided the officer to the spot, which was located about 15 feet down a slope. As they neared the area, the officer noted something incompletely concealed by dirt, what appeared to be something unusual. The officers found an arm. At first, the officer was uncertain, but a closer look revealed that the arm was of a human. Realizing the gravity of the situation, the officer knew he had to act swiftly. He immediately communicated with his supervisor and informed the investigators.
He said he was cruising there on his dirt bike, and a vulture launched up from the ground. He looked. He said he could smell something bad. Stopped, saw it, called us. Okay.
The call was routed to the Sandoval County Sheriff's Office, and Detective Frank Tomlinson was dispatched to the scene. Before descending the embankment to examine the remains more closely, the officer made a careful assessment of the surroundings. Unexpectedly, there were no visible tracks or signs of disturbance near the area, which raised further questions about how the remains had ended up in such a remote location. After a brief examination, Tomlinson verified that the remains were indeed mortal. Tomlinson, noting the condition of the remains, immediately communicated with Rio Rancho investigators. They assumed that it could link to the missing person case involving a woman named Dawn Sandoval from their administration, and this discovery could deliver a vital link. The next day, Detective Tomlinson and a team of forensic investigators returned to the location. As they carefully began to remove the layers of soil, they noticed that the dirt was constantly falling from the edge, where they found the body of Dawn. This detail indicated that the body hadn't been properly buried. Instead, it seemed like it had just been carelessly tossed down the slope, almost as if the person responsible had intended to dispose of it. Once the body was completely shoveled, it was transferred to the office of the medical investigator for further analysis. During the recovery, the team found several items near the remains that handed further hints: a set of keys and a bag. These particulars matched the description of things reported missing, along with Dawn Sandoval. The discovery strengthened the proposition that the body was likely that of Dawn, linking the remains directly to the investigation. With this new information, the investigation took a decisive turn. The focus shifted to reconstructing the events that led to Dawn's woeful death. Investigators focused on the person of interest, Dawn's ex-husband, Michael Sandoval. Determined to gather further confirmation, the investigators sought and obtained search warrants for Michael's home and his truck.
So I need you to come with me for a little bit down to the station. We're going to take your DNA and your prints.
These warrants would allow them to collect DNA samples, fingerprints, and other substantiation that could potentially tie Michael to the crime scene. The detectives brought him in for further questioning. Nevertheless, Michael freely handed in DNA and point samples before leaving the station, despite the growing darkness of suspicion around him. For weeks, the investigation appeared to be at a deadlock. While investigators had strong reservations that Michael was involved, concrete evidence was needed to arrest him. The situation was frustrating, a common reality in numerous ongoing examinations where time, resources, and tolerance were tested. However, a breakthrough emerged. During the search, the investigator discovered a blood stain in the truck, which was promptly sent for forensic testing. The crime lab completed its analysis of the DNA samples collected from Michael's truck, revealing pivotal new evidence. The results verified that the blood set up on the back seat of Michael's truck was a match to Dawn's DNA profile. This was the smoking gun investigators had been searching for. Not only did it place Dawn inside Michael's truck, directly contradicting his earlier statements, but it also suggested that a violent confrontation had passed there. Finally, Michael was arrested.
Come here. Come here. Put your hands. Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. Walk this way. When I say let me see your hands, let me see your hands. Turn around.
We finally got the forensic analysis back from the crime lab from that evidence that was in the back of his truck and the evidence that we had cut out the back seat.
Armed with the crucial evidence, the investigators developed a theory of how the events may have transpired. They proposed that Dawn and Michael had engaged in a heated argument that escalated into violence. The evidence indicated that strangulation or suffocation was the probable cause of death. Given that their 14-year-old twins were present in the house at the time, it was suspected that Michael swiftly moved to conceal his crime. He disposed of Dawn's body by taking it out to his truck and driving to a remote area where he discarded her remains by throwing her down the dam. The investigators were chilled by the realization of what had likely occurred. Michael not only killed the mother of his children, but also went to great lengths to cover up his crime in a cold and calculated manner. His attempts to deceive the police and his own family had ultimately failed. With the mounting evidence against him, Michael was arrested and charged with second-degree murder and tampering with evidence. The case went to trial later in August 2019, with the prosecution laying out a compelling narrative of domestic violence, deception, and the tragic payoff of Dawn Sandoval. Throughout the trial, Michael maintained his innocence, but the jury was not swayed by his defense. After days of deliberation, in November, the jury found Michael guilty on all counts. Michael was sentenced to 18 years in prison, a punishment that would give some degree of responsibility for his heinous crime. The conviction brought a sense of justice to Dawn's family, though it was a bittersweet victory.
The world lost a great person. We all miss her so much. Her laugh. Can't get that out of my head.
No judgment, no matter how long, could bring her back or erase the trauma endured by her children. The family could now begin the difficult process of healing, knowing that the man they formerly trusted had been forced to confront the full weight of his conduct. In the end, while justice was served, the case remained a stark memorial of the hidden dangers of domestic violence and the devastating toll it can take on families. Dawn Sandoval's story, though marked by tragedy, was an important testament to the adaptability of those left behind and the grim pursuit of truth by those cursed to uphold the law. If Michael could let go of his jealousy, he might be able to accept Dawn's decision to move on. Then it could be a different end. What do you think? Let us know your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you. If there's a case you'd like us to cover, don't hesitate to drop your recommendations in the comment section below. For more captivating true crime stories, like, share, and subscribe to M7 Crime Storytime. If you appreciate our content, consider becoming a member and unlock early access to exclusive content.